Hello, 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 everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder of Pat Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? Let me just get some more real estate up there. There we go. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Sunday weekly preview show. By the way, if you are new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that like button, and liking that bell. That works. Okay, so now we've got that out of the way. I appreciate everybody who's subscribed to this channel. And I appreciate all the additional comments after the video is over. Please do come back, longer term subscribers, and leave some comments like you've been doing. It really gets us a lot more circulation. We get recommended a lot more times. So please take that extra 1 minute after this live stream's wrapped up and do that. Also, I did post the weekly sector overview and what I'm watching for in that this week. So with that, let's switch over here. But you know what? I did that too soon. You know why I did that too soon? Because I didn't say hello, everyone. Hello, Waka Waka. I hope everyone had a good weekend too. I'm starting to get the house, some stuff packed, getting it ready to put on the market. So I am busy, busy, busy. Good afternoon, Sashi. Notice a red hammer on Friday. It's bullish, but in reality, no different than Thursday. So indecisively, we're at bottom trend, so we could see a big push up. I am watching for some of these bottoming patterns, short term to trigger, then possibly long term. Don't know about or medium term. Should say the more medium term ones, but they might not trigger. We still should get at least a short term bounce. Hey, Amit, cruise ship Wi-Fi sucks. But I'm glad you're able to do some prep work. Hope everything's good on the cruise ship. 15% bear market or rally would take out most shorts. I would love the bear market rally so we could get positioned for some new shorts. I mean, we've been down so many weeks in a row. It's crazy. Good afternoon, Davey. Good afternoon, George. Well, thank you for all being here. Now I can switch cameras. Didn't want to get ahead of myself there. Tomorrow, Chicago Fed National Activity Index, and we do have Bostic speaking. That's probably the biggest potential market moving thing. Tuesday, I'll pay attention to the 8:45 release of some of these flash PMIs, and definitely keep an eye on the housing market. Richmond Fed will be very interesting since we've seen the other regional indices dropping substantially. So that'll be interesting on Tuesday. And then we have Powell. Wednesday, we got all the mortgage stuff early, then 7:30 Central Time. Durable goods is potentially market moving, so we'll pay attention to that. All the crude stuff coming out at 9:30 Central. And then we have Brainerd and big thing FOMC minutes in the afternoon. Not expecting anything shocking, but there's always, you got to keep an eye on it just in case. Thursday, we have the GDP growth rate quarter over quarter, second estimate for Q1. Again, that will be interesting, potentially market moving. Jobless claims, not so much. Core PCE prices will get interesting. That can be, even though it's low, that could be in this environment potentially market moving. Pending home sales, definitely going to tune in for that one. Then we have the Kansas City Fed Composite Index, going to check that out definitely to see if that drops also. The 27th is the big day Friday. Core PCE and PCE price index, very, very important. This is the Fed's favorite measure of inflation, so that is big on Friday. 7:30, so be sure to tune in on Friday. And then we have consumer sentiment, the final reading for May at 9. So there's lots of stuff still coming out this week, potentially market moving. You know what I forgot to put up? You know what I forgot? There we go. Earnings. Tomorrow, just for people who follow the EV space, XPeng is tomorrow. Not much, but Zoom after the close. Will be interesting to see that. Did you see what Kathy was tweeting this weekend with AI over the next few years could lead to 30 to 50% GDP growth? Come on. Come on. She's off the rails. I'm sorry. I don't even think that this country's never hit anything that high, and it's not going to happen through AI. Hey, George, let's see. I sold my house Friday. Hurry, Mike. Housing market's about to roll over. I know. I had to get my ducks in a row. When you got five dogs, it's not easy to just move. So I'm going. Hello, still blown away that your account was flagged by YouTube. I got it fixed. I'm no expert on podcasts, but maybe it's your 5-minute intro. No, it's not. It's just one that was, they just flagged one video. I didn't change anything in the video, changed some tags, which are in all my other videos, and, got it resolved on Saturday and changed the title and changed some hashtags. But they're the same in other things, so who knows? Who knows? It's back up there, though. So back to earnings. Zoom on Monday. Advanced Auto Parts, definitely, because that's what I do like to trade. Going to tune in for that. Tuesday, we have Best Buy before the open to see if retail keeps getting crushed. AutoZone definitely is another one I like to check in on. I'm just looking what else. There's nothing for me much on after close on Tuesday. Let me know if anything jumps out at you. Wednesday after close, we got NVIDIA. Big one there to pay attention to, so I will be watching that. What else? Thursday, definitely tuning in for Dollar Tree, Dollar General. And then after the close, Costco, which has been gotten beat up. So gonna definitely tune into that one. And that's about it for the big things that jump out of me. Let me know what you are watching, and if there's something you want me to specifically look at this week, leave a comment. We want to keep these comments not in the live stream. Keep going with the live stream comments, of course, because that's the way I interact, but come back and leave some comments on the videos so we can keep going with that. Oops, boy, and I'm just Mr. Bungles today. By the way, just a reminder, pretty much mixed session in the mega caps. Healthcare, and I talked about this in the weekly sector overview. Nice little rally there. Tesla's still getting beat up. FOMC, it's still pretty much the full 50 basis point is baked in for June, which is the middle of June, June 15th. So if we do start putting in the low, if the low's already in or we confirm it for this week, we could get a pretty decent 2-week rally out of this before the next hike. So I'm watching for that. We'll go over negative gamma tomorrow. It still has to be updated on Tier 1 Alpha's site. So we'll check that out tomorrow. All right. Let's see. Every YouTuber is warning us to get ready for a rally like we've never seen before. That means it's probably off the table. And it might not be it might be a bounce. I'm expecting there's a lot of stuff that's positioned for a bounce. So as I have the S&P up here now, which we have the potential. So we could get a little shorter term bounce because there is still an aggressive buy tomorrow on a close above Thursday's high, coming in at 39.43. The slightly bigger bounce would be if we triggered a double. All right. Now, that would just take us, if it went to full target, back to 4,200. I don't know if that's a rally. I mean, based off, I don't know what the other YouTubers are saying because I don't really pay attention to them. No offense to them. I just do my own stuff and my own analysis. I don't get caught up in other people's analysis. That would be about a 12.5% rally. All right. And that would be also from the lows on Friday. That would be from the lows, not the close, the lows. That would take us up to this resistance shelf, the double target. And that would be a 12.5. Waka Waka was talking 15. And that would take us back in the weekly rotation zone. I don't know if that's a monster rally. That's an okay rally. But again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks down. You get a little 12.5% correction. And I would not be surprised also since we triggered that 20% down in the S&P, and generally when those bear market indicators trigger for the first time, you get the rally. All right, so we get the short-term rally. So I'm expecting, 10 to 12% if the doubles trigger. That's what I'll be watching for. a nice little correction into the weekly rotation zone. So again, based off this last little sell-off where we tapped up to the 50%. So if we start closing above here, that's a nice little thing. Intraday tomorrow, I'll be really watching if we do get a rally on this 39.87 area, because even a move above that intraday, then I'm really starting to target for the rest of the week the 87.5 to 4,059 to about 4,093 area. Now, if we get a little selling pressure before that, what will I be watching? Let me just take this off short term. What will I be watching before then? Well, based off Friday's price action, you don't really want to see a lot of strong closes below about 38.60. And by strong closes, I mean 1 hour. Because then we'd be looking to, from a statistical perspective, possibly retesting Friday's lows. That means those lows won't hold. No, it just means we'd then be retesting. Then I'd watch for another potential short-term entry pattern for another push up. All right, so that's the kind of stuff I will watch based off of Friday's price action. That would tip me into, okay, we might still have the low in from last week, but we're going to retest it first. If we don't come down below that 62.5 I just took off the screen, then I'll be really watching for the continued upward price action. Now, for the sake of completeness, because we always have to analyze both sides, well, for the sake of completeness, if we do take out the lows on Friday, I'd be watching 37.71 to 37.58 for the next potential bottoming area. Good afternoon, Wavy. Kathy's still pumping crazy talk. Kathy is just crazy. Rich, you got Zoom puts. Zoom puts for the earnings. If I see her on CNBC one more time, I might have to stop watching TV. I just don't watch CNBC. Personally. So somebody sometimes sends me clips of something they find interesting, but that years ago turned into complete garbage TV. I don't even put it on because it aggravates. It's like promoting crap, you know. Hey, Christoph, how are you over in Europe? What do you think about Palantir? We can take a peek and peek at that. Nvidia going to get smoked this quarter. Big drop post earnings. I did the sector overview and longer term bearish on semis, but watching for some potential bounces, but not necessarily in Nvidia. Huge supply constraints out of China. Completely agree. Yes, you want Qs and Tesla options 22. Good afternoon, Josh. Thank you for tuning in. A lot of people tuning in today. Happy Sunday, everyone. Nvidia going to be a sell-off, I think. CNN Fear and Greed Index at an 11. Does it go to 11? Or does it stop at 10? You need one more. One louder. It's an 11. Do we need a daily close above Thursday's high, or just 4-hour daily would be preferable? Again, if we get a lot of strength tomorrow, Christoph, it's something I might try to front run. And then if it doesn't close, bail on the close. Depending on the price action tomorrow. At what level is a daily double on the ES invalid? If we push much below Friday's low, it will be invalid. I'll take a look at that and map it out later. But so if we start pushing much below Friday's low, it would invalidate it. And I'd let you know. If we did it overnight, I'll let you know on the live stream tomorrow. For me, it's a max 15% rally, but don't think it will hit 15, more likely 10%. So we're pretty close. I'm 10 to 12. Then tank. Yeah, I'm watching again because we'd just be back again. What would this take us to? See, we get a nice little correction out of this oversold. We got cycles at the bottom and also RSI at the bottom, and that would just take us back into the weekly rotation zone area. And anywhere in here is set up for a rotation. All right, so that would, and you have prior support, coming resistance, so that would be a really nice setup for some new bearish plays. Hello, Wizit. Welcome. Thank you. Mike, can you touch on the why the the Dow daily double is invalidated versus ES and NASDAQ? All right. Well, the ES, you can on doubles, you can have the right hand side be lower by a certain percentage than here, but the Dow one, we'll get to it, it pushed way beyond what was valid for a setup. It ruins the potential targets when it gets that low. NASDAQ, speaking of NASDAQ, it did push down also on the right-hand side, right in front of this little cluster area. Clean up some of this. And then reversing, a nice little reversal. On this, we do have an aggressive buy also above Thursday's high on a closing basis, 12,076. All right, so keep that in mind. Also, the double to trigger would need to be above 12,594, 13,046, 13,272, and 13,499, so essentially 13.5. What would I be focusing on the upside? Well, first we need some kind of short-term trigger, and then longer term that would just take us into weekly rotation zone, and I'm more focused on the first and the second targets on this for the NASDAQ rally. I mean, after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks down also. Back to the weekly rotation zone, prior support becoming resistance, especially that second target. So we get that bounce in the NASDAQ from the lows. Let's say if we got the first target would be about 13%. Second target, if it got there, would be about 15%. So if it can really muster up something, I'm watching about, I'd actually say about 12 to 15% on the NASDAQ if we don't make new lows. What else? So intraday stuff also. Let me just take off the flag that broke down. Key area I'll be watching for a rally. That was the double that was triggered late afternoon. Overnight about 12,045. That's at 50% of the sell-off. I'm really then focused on about 12,182 because we get a key close above that. That favors a return to the retest the high area from the 17th and the 18th. So that's what I need. If we pull back, let me take this off short term. If we pull back and, oops, wrong way. Didn't I? If we pull back and get a key close, and that's really interesting, the 62.5 right here with this little bottoming pattern below about 11,720, I'll watch for a retest of the Friday's low area. And if we do poke down, 11,463 to 11,460 is minor, and major would be 11,224. Since these levels weren't hit, I'm keeping them on the charts for now. Besides that, putting back up the levels that I'm watching for the upside. Now, the Dow, as you brought up, this move, this extended too far from here. All right, extended too far. So what does that mean? Does that mean the Dow won't rally? No, it'll rally along with the other ones, but I can't use the double targets. And what's interesting enough is even if you did try to put the double targets on here, see, even if you made the error and said, okay, this is still fine, because you might not know the rules, but look at this big flat area. The second and third target are beyond it. The targets just aren't valid, even if you made the error of trying to put them on. So what does that mean? If we did take out this high area from the 17th, you are in a clear path, but I'd be targeting about 32.9, and then the other targets I'd use would be the retracement harmonics. What's the key area I'm focusing on the Dow? For the short-term rally would be about 31,650, and then the key closing area above 31,900. All right, let's flip it back down the other way and take a look in case we do get some lower price action overnight or in the morning. My key level is about 30,945. Below that on a key close, then I'll be watching for the retest of Friday's low area. Just a reminder on the weekly, off here. So even if we rally up from this most recent thing, the 50%, the key levels I'd be really watching for on the Dow if we get a nice little rally, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks down the Dow. I'm focused on the weekly rotation zone and the 50% harmonic only. That's coming with the prior support becoming resistance and the rolling over weekly and the 50%. So my target is about 33,000, just above that. And if we got above that, my full target would be about 33.6. So where does that take us in percentage terms? That would be about a 8% to 10% rally only in the Dow. Again, the Dow is not acting great with this breakdown zone. You had eight weeks down, and I'm expecting after next rollover move for us to easily test this 200 week. Russell, they'll just be Russell. By the way, you do have a potential double, so you need the move, or specifically a close would be best above 1772.80, then 1913.30, 1949, and I'd just really be focusing on those first two targets for the Russell. That would take us into the weekly rotation zone, and you see the second target is right at the breakdown zone, just below it. So that's what I'm focusing on with the Russell. Pretty much the same thing. You can map it out. You know, if we start coming back down overnight, you can map out the levels yourself, but if we do break down, I'd watch for a retest of 1716 to 1697. Again, it's important to practice this stuff yourself. DAX, we're still against the weekly rotation zone. Could not close into it on any up move. Again, I'm still watching for rollover plays in this. I'm not getting into more bearish until 13,688 cycles on the daily, not yet at the bottom. If there's any breakout play, I need a close above about 14,318 to put me in short-term bullish mode before I start watching for the next rollover play. So we sit with that. Crude, still watching for potentially the higher prices. Came back to weekly rotation zone and rotating up. So I'm just watching for a break from Friday's high. Then I'll start targeting about a 113.40 to 115.50 above there. As I've said many times, my key level on a closing basis is about 116.50. Get a close above there. My first target then is about 121 in the short term. Gold, I'm watching for this lows to hold because we might have a potentially mid-term rally in gold. Pulling back to between the 50 and 62 and rotating back up. I mean, gold was very oversold. Cycles at the bottom. So I'll be watching if we do break above for a potential return to around 1890. Silver. This is a little tougher one because we start getting a rotation back up. First, my target is about 22.45. And then I'm just not as bullish on this yet until we could get a close of about 22.40. But then again, it's trying to get the average down here more since we broke below here. So we're against the rotation zone. So this has silver's got a lot of work to do. Notes, it looks like, again, we have that short-term bottom in for notes. So I'm watching for continued rallies on pullbacks and notes. Pullback area is about 119.21. We get through 120.11. I'm focused on 120.22, then 121 to the upside for this bottoming play. And then longer term, I think we could actually hit back to this 50% sell-off area, which would take us to 123.06. Dollar index, again, we have this topping pattern in place with this sloppy head and shoulders. So I'm watching for more pullback in the dollar, 102.34, 101.81, 101.29, taking it back to a potential reconnection with the 50-day exponential. What invalidates this at this point for me is if we get a daily close above 104.18. Tesla trying to put in a bottoming move at the bottom of this channel. 636.94 was the harmonic level we bounced off of. Sorry for the barking in the background. On a rally, though, I'm watching for a return if it does get a rally on about 700 now. 700, support here, now resistance with the declining 4-hour rotation zone. On a bigger move up, so that's the first key area. If it did get a bigger move up, you know, even off this last little rundown move, above 700, it really, in order to get a key rally on, would need a close above about 729.50, because that would put it into a daily rotation zone, and then I'd be watching for closer to a return to about 780 to 790, but then for another rollover play. I'm just watching for continued rollover plays on this. Now, we get a nice little rally in the NASDAQ and the S&P. Since, again, this is a member of the S&P 500 and a mega cap, could we get a nice little bounce in it? Yes, but I'd be watching for then a setup and rollover play. I know we had a request also for the Qs. Qs still do have a potential double in play. Longer term, shorter term, a close above Thursday's high is a short-term buy entry. That would be on a daily close above 294.39. Let me reverse these. 294.39. Stop raise target would be about 297. You get a close above 297, then I'm targeting about 303.11 to 306. And above 306.56 takes us into the double targets. So those are all your upside. If we do sell below Friday's lows, would pretty much invalidate the double, and then the next targets down would be 276.92, 277.62. What did we have? What else do we have before I get through the comments? I know we had, what was it, Palantir? Was that the one? Let me just go back through the comments. I think that was it. Let's see. Yeah, PLTR, sorry. PLTR. If we get a nice little rally on in this, I'd be watching for a break to the upside. A little short-term break. It's in a horizontal consolidation pattern right here. Let me just I'm just going to roughly map out what the break of the horizontal would be. I'd be watching for if it breaks the upside, it'd be out of the way of the 4-hour rotation zone, and your potential full target is 905, and then you have a gap fill above to about 947. Now, long term, see, that first target just takes us into the daily rotation zone. So long term, I'm still not super bullish. There's just short-term plays, and that's the upside. If you break down, and then, by the way, the weekly rotation zone, which is off from, if it does poke above that daily, it would just be for the gap fill, and I'd be watching for the rollover play again slightly higher. So the only upside stuff to me is this short little breakout or breakdown play in Palantir. And if you were going to break down, you're roughly the first target, and the first target for a horizontal channel is roughly the same, 739 to 736. And then you could easily retest the low area if it were to break down. So what would if the market starts rallying, I'd be favoring the upside breakout just for a little short-term corrective play, especially with this gap up here. I mean, this to fill the gap. It was a gap down, but to fill the gap to the upside, that would be my short-term play for there. Where do we sit now? Wavy thinks we could have one more leg lower to trap lots of people who bought the Friday rally into the close. That's why I'm still, you got to map it out. And we could, if we get that close below that 62.5 level I've talked about, and that would favor a retest of the lows. Not necessarily new lows, but a retest of the lows. But even if we didn't really break to new lows, those doubles would stay in place. I've lost money to Kathy and I've turned on her. The messenger is flawed, but the message is true. AI robots slowly replacing people is the case for universal basic income. Yeah, but you're not going to have 30 to 50% GDP growth. Yeah, you will have more AI, you will have more robots replacing people. It would probably then you'd have to do something like uh, universal basic income, which is a topic not for this live stream. But we're not going to get 30 to 50% GDP growth. Okay? That's just insane. And for her to put that out is insane. Starbucks mooning. Starbucks, this looks like, I mean, longer term, I'm, again, not bullish on Starbucks. I'm expecting it to return to about 59.60 at least. Now, short term, would not be surprised to see a rally. Does this qualify as a double? No. Does not qualify as a double. It'd have to take one more turn lower. So to the upside, that's why you got to take a look. To the upside, I mean, I'd just be back to targeting if it did rally about 75.66 to 77.44. Need a close below 77.44 to retarget about 81.12. Where would that take it? Into just a weekly rotation zone, and I'd watch for a weekly rollover. But there'd be nothing I'd rush into until it gets a better pattern, because this doesn't even have the high probability double. Tried to get the gap fill. If we have any weakness, this could easily roll over again. I'm just not a fan of Starbucks right now. It can easily statistically still have lower price action with that close below the 62.5 that happened. So I'd look for better plays from a personal. What news channels do you watch for stuff? I'll check out a couple things on Fox, business news, or some Bloomberg stuff. I just steer clear of CNBC. Where do I get my news while trading? I have a couple different just streams through my trading providers. Then I go and look on the Twitter with stuff I'm subscribed to and scan some sites. And then people alert me to other stuff because I don't have Bloomberg terminal anymore. CNBC is CNBS. A Tesla on autopilot killed 3 construction workers in California yesterday. I saw something like that. I did not get a confirmation on that. I was just making sure. Yeah, that's not good for Tesla. I think Tesla's really going to start the unwinding spree, especially with Elon losing it. You know, there are more people starting to... And what happens, he was a fan darling of media for a long time. And once media turns, it can get really ugly really fast because they'll turn on a dime. And what used to be their little... pet hero will turn into like a pariah, and his whole stuff. And even though he's latching on to now the conservative side and trying to make them think he's a purveyor of free speech and everything, he's now a victim of all this stuff. That'll unwind too at some point. So it's just gonna longer term not be good, and Q2 is gonna be super ugly for Tesla. Can you go over to upper and lower levels for Tesla? Got to get a good short option. I'm looking at a failed attempt over Friday's 4-hour candle or 8 AMA. I'll peek back at Tesla. I didn't get the lower ones. If we do break below Friday's lows, I'm at 611. Then I'm back to 573. 4 hours, I just don't have. We got cycles turning up. I'm really looking. I'd be watching for rollover plays above 700 and above. I wouldn't get in stuff personally. Can't give individual trading advice, but we get a market rally going on. Doesn't have to start tomorrow, but we start getting one overall, and this will get a pop too, unless something just horrible comes out. But like they said, all right, if autopilot killed 3, it's going to start an investigation, and it might not necessarily affect the stock tomorrow. So yeah, I'm watching for these. You keep an eye on return to that 4-hour rotation zone, the levels I outlined, especially between the 50 and the 62.5, into that 4-hour rotation zone for a potential rollover and another play. Tesla is trending on Twitter for the past 2 days. Yep, it's. Would you think a gap down is possible on the open? Anything's possible. Again, I'd have to comment on that tomorrow morning because it's also Tesla's so dependent also since it is one of the mega caps in the S&P 500. Yeah, it bucked the trend down 6%, but it's also very oversold, so it could even get a little pop even with bearish news. Lauren, no bottom in sight, and is that with Tesla? Tesla, I'm not talking long-term bottom. I'm talking a little play and then a rollover. Again, where a longer term I'm very bearish. What do Bill Gates, Hank Paulson, Jack Ma, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk all have in common? They all sold at the top. Yeah, well, exactly. Won't be so sure the bottom is in. You forgot Elon Musk's brother also. Yep. Raj, I'm not a perma bear, but with $5.50 gas prices, massive inventory builds up, huge price increases for food and home prices cannot be good. Earnings revision by 10-20% in the cards. Completely agree. That's why I think Q2 earnings are going to start to be very ugly. And that's why also remember, like for PE ratios, if you start, and they're getting into more reasonable areas now, but if you start dialing down earnings, they naturally go back up with even if price stayed the same. So then the price has to drop again to make up for it. So as we get closer to Q2, I'm getting more and more and more bearish. You're welcome, Amit. So you are welcome, Wizard. Twitter is biggest news other than Bloomberg Terminal. Yeah, wish I had it. Bloomberg terminals are way overpriced this day and age, though. That's the problem. I wish they'd make it. I mean, they're still catering to the big managers and hedge funds and everything else. I wish they'd, because you could even do it virtually. You bump down the price, and I'd have it again, but I'm not paying for that when I can get 90% and other people send me stuff that I need from it if I need stuff. Bill Gates predicted in 2021 that a disease called monkeypox will hit in May. On May 15th, I didn't know that. I need. Hey, Rich, send me that information to support a Path Trading Partners. Okay, I'd like to just see that where you got that from. Tesla last year low 540 is pretty close. May see a major bounce from there. I think we'll see some minor bounces before there, and then I'm looking at the 500 area for a more significant bounce, and then another major rollover. Let's see. Hey, Mike, he's right. If Elon is right, and this is a simulation we live in, anything is possible. Yeah, if we lived in a simulation, anything is possible. All right, let's see. Margin calls coming at 420. What about we dropped below 690? Wasn't that triggering some margin calls too? I think there's much more pain ahead in Tesla. Where else do we sit? I just want to check at the. Remember to tune into the weekly stock sector overview. Again, we already. On the custom mega cap index, which is ugly. If I'm expecting a bounce in this too, there is the potential double on this, so I will watch out. We'll map that out later. But if it does roll over 50.36, I just want to take a look at a couple of my ratios, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Mega cap index, interesting enough. Mega cap index, we do have a potential double. So I will be keeping an eye on that. You can see that on the daily. And what would that mean on the weekly? That would just take the second target, would take it back to the weekly. And look how this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks down on the mega cap index. So I am watching for some potential mega cap plays going into this week. Growth versus value. I talked about the growth on sorry, that's gold. Value versus growth. I was wondering that. Now, look, with the value versus growth, we have hit the first target. With this down favors value, up favors growth. We've bouncing off this first target. That got updated to the wrong place. Sorry. Right here, we had this cluster with the harmonics and this double. So I'm expecting a return. I'm going to be watching possibly back to this breakdown zone with value versus growth, then another rollover play. That would just take it back to the 200 week and the weekly rotation zone. So we could get a couple week bounce out of favoring growth over value before another rollover play. Just keep that in mind. And you saw that mega caps also could be getting a bottoming pattern. So those are some things I'm focused on. You want to know what else I'm focused on? You're going to have to tune into that sector overview. And let's see if there's any other comments. I don't think you can post links here. I don't think that works. You can try it, Rich. I'll let you know if I see it. Do it quickly. Well, I don't really listen to what Elon says a lot of times because a lot of stuff that comes out of Elon's mouth is utter and complete crap. And can be induced by other things. So, yes, it's super expensive. It's insane monthly cost. Yeah, Bloomberg terminals. So it's just not worth it from my point of view at this point. I sent it. All right, I will take a look at that, Rich. Thank you so much. Again, if anybody else ever wants to send me stuff, you can put it always in Discord or just always email. I get all the emails, support, if they're relevant to me, I get them in support at Path Trading Partners. There's a lot of stuff that you can do a lot of interesting research into, more in-depth research into bonds, into corporate yields, into junk bonds, into some custom ratios that you can build. It's a really good news source too still. You could do some great fundamental ratios and some great fundamental research in it. Yeah, let me review it, and I probably won't do it in tomorrow morning because it's tight with the preview, but we can definitely talk about it in a market overview, Rich. Let me review it first. All right, I'm going to get going. Again, trying to get the house in order to get on the market as fast as possible so we can move out of the Chicagoland area. With that, thank you for everyone tuning in. Please come back and leave some comments after the stream is over. It really, really helps. We're getting new people in here. We're getting wonderful new people. I don't recall seeing Mike before, but welcome to this live stream. Again, tune in tomorrow, 8 a.m. Central starts the countdown. And we can review the overnight price action and fine-tune our trading for tomorrow morning. You are welcome, Waka Waka. You are welcome, Wizit. Comment frenzy, go. Completely agree. With that, wrapping it up. Talk to everyone later. Bye.